This is Ben Shapiro explaining the GameStop short debacle, the short crunch, as a prank. Ben Shapiro breaks down the funniest Wall Street prank ever.
Alrighty, so today I'm going to explain what just happened with GameStop. To put it mildly,
if I had my druthers in life, I would live in a GameStop. And I don't mean play games because no one wants to play with me. I mean, what I would do is I would go in there, you know, khakis, button-down shirt, eyebrows on fleek, and I would fondle all the used controllers.
it's been a wild ride for GameStop, which at one point here has...
Find me a picture that says wild ride. By the way, Fellatio VR is no joke, and you do not play around with this kind of stuff. There is lawnmower man damage that can be done. And by the way, he's using a still from SNL. So
has been valued at more than Delta Airlines, which is very weird because GameStop, for people
work on some graphics and throw in
who
some...
have visited it, is basically a swap meet meets Blockbuster for video games. Basically, here's what happened. So at the beginning of...
Yeah, tell us what happened. Okay, what happened was I went to Cole and this shirt spoke to me.
January, they had a change in leadership, and that caused some optimism at the company. But some people thought that the optimism was sort of overvalued at the company in hedge fund world. So what happened is all of those hedge fund traders, they short sold the stock. So I'm going to explain what exactly happened, and then...
Yeah, tell us what a short sale is. A short sale is when Ben Shapiro becomes a
bunch of people on Reddit basically screwed all of those hedge fund guys. It's pretty unbelievable. We'll get to that in just 1 second. First,
it's actually quite believable.
I want to remind you need to check out expressvpn.com.
Oh my God, we have to sit through an ad for this stuff? Who are you, Rudy Giuliani? Okay,
so,
back to this.
We first have to explain what a...
First, we have to explain, this is my favorite thing ever. This thing right here. This is my favorite thing that exists in the world. This is what is commonly referred to as a whiteboard. I had an option to have a blackboard, and I said no. Sorry.
Short sale is, for people who don't actually know what a short sale is. So
it's when you go to Kohl's and they have a lot of outlet mall kind of shirts that are available, and you're like, if
we have a couple of players.
I don't even know that he's short. I think he's probably my height, ironically.
In our short sale. Okay, if you believe a value is overpriced for a stock, if you think that a stock is overpriced, then you engage in what's called a short sale so you can capture.
Oh, that's what I do. Oh, I engage, guys. Isn't that what you do? You engage in a short sale. You know, if you're thinking, I don't know. You engage in a short sale. All right.
The value of the overpricing. Here's how it works. You have a hedge fund guy.
This is the picture that Ben Shapiro has on his wall of what he thinks he looks like.
I'm going to call that guy Bruce because...
No, his voice is not sped up. This is his actual voice.
Everybody hates Bruce, right? So here's Bruce, okay? So you got Bruce.
Everybody hates Bruce, do they?
Over a 1 month period.
Bruce Lee, Bruce Springsteen. Okay.
Bruce believes that the stock of GameStop is going...
I'm just going to call him Ben. This guy, Ben. No, there's a Ben I like. And it's interesting, Ben, you and I have a bit of a history because my husband on Queer as Folk's name was Ben. So awkward.
Going to drop, right? This is 1 month, okay? So what does Bruce do? He doesn't own any stock.
Why are you playing like French cafe music? Is this supposed to make this wacky?
In GameStop, because he doesn't like GameStop. He thinks that it's actually not a company that is of great value. So what does Bruce do? He goes to a broker.
No, he doesn't give a shit. He thinks it's going to lose money. It has nothing about the value of the actual company. It's not that he doesn't think it's a great company or that it's flagging or going down because of the function of the place itself. No, he's going there because he thinks it's going to lose money and he can make money off it losing money. That's why he's short selling it.
Right? The broker.
Wait, I got a good idea. Do American Airlines a week before 9/11.
then proceeds to lend Bruce the stock. Okay? The stock.
This is where Ben Shapiro realizes that writing on a chalkboard or a whiteboard is way harder than you thought it was. That you're writing, you had no idea how shitty your handwriting was, and writing in a straight line. Like if Ben Shapiro was giving a breakdown for his own little internal company, Ben Shapiro Inc., whatever, they would lose money every quarter just because as he drew on the board, it would start to taper off. Like, God, look at that graph. It's just falling apart. No. I just go down when I write. I can't pace myself. It's this Kohl's shirt. It's too binding.
Is moving from the broker to Bruce. Bruce is going to borrow that stock for a month. Then, 1 month from now, Bruce is going to give that stock back to the broker plus some sort of percentage fee. So let's just say that Bruce...
Percentage fee. He's going to borrow it at its current price. And own it at that price. So he's selling it at the price. He's expecting it to go down, so he will give it back at the price that he took it at. And so he has to, if he has 10 shares, he borrows the 10 shares. He goes and sells them. They're not his. He sells them at $10 a share. Then hopefully the price goes down like he thinks it's going to. He can buy those shares back for $4. Give the shares back and keep 6 of every share. That's how it works. That's what a short sell is. This is not hard. Look at this.
Bruce is going to give for the sake of easy math, the broker back the stock plus $10. So Bruce, in 1 month, is then going to reverse the transaction. He is going to return the stock to the broker plus $10.
Which is ridiculous on a stock that cost $13. Like this analogy has already eaten shit.
Okay, now Bruce, again, he thinks that the stock is overpriced right now. So now Bruce has the
So he calls Ben Shapiro on the phone.
Stock. So what does Bruce do? Let's say that
seriously, if I was Eugene Levy, I would sue.
The stock price is $50 for the sake of argument. So Bruce then goes to the market.
Yeah, it isn't.
And he is going to sell this stock, right? He's going
back to the broker a month before he gets them. This is such a great graph.
to sell the stock that he has borrowed to the market.
My question is, would you get more or less out of the stock if you used this half of the whiteboard? Honestly, Glenn Beck must be watching this pissed. Why is the market that way? Why is he brokering it back to the market? Because he's using his own broker to sell the broker's own shares back? Is the broker taking a fee off this? Are you making the case that hedge funds double dip by brokering their own shit?
Okay, and Bruce, in return, is going to receive. Bruce now has $50 in his pocket. Now, the month progresses. Bruce has no stock, but he has to return the stock back to the broker. So what does he do? He waits for a month. Now, because Bruce was right, the stock price dropped. So Bruce can now buy the stock from the market, right? So the market is now going to sell the stock to Bruce. And
yes, but where does the fiddler on the roof factor in? Because he's working overtime during
Bruce,
this whole display.
Let's say it's dropped to $20, is going to pay $20 to the market. So that means that Bruce sold the stock at 50. He bought the stock at 20.
This is so good. Bruce is a genius.
So that means that he made $30 on that transaction. Then he
and you were making fun of Bruce.
has to return the stock plus $10 to the broker. So now he has made $20 on the transaction, right?
Awesome. Yeah, you got it. You person over there, person off the side of my whiteboard. You guys got that? Does this make sense? Now I've got to go use the other half of the whiteboard to explain how it all ate shit. Right.
Right, so here's what everybody at the end of the day got from that transaction. So the broker got the stock plus $10.
Plus $10.
And Bruce ends up clearing a profit of $20 after all that is said and done. Okay, that's what Bruce is hoping for if the value of the stock has dropped. Now, here's what the GameStop guys did. Alrighty, so before we get to more of this, I want to...
Now, wait, you can't stop. You got to tell us how it worked. Explain the whole, but it's the greatest. What are you selling? Okay.
It's going to protect your online data. So your online data...
Yeah. So let's just say you're trying to bounce your Q posts through the Philippines, and you're using the servers of a guy who sells child porn. You don't want people to know that, and when you reset up Parler, you're bouncing it through a Russian server, and that's where people think it is. But in actuality, okay, keep telling me the story. What?
Entity to all of the websites that you visit, and then monitor with ExpressVPN. It's really
easy to hide your what's scan, pay, and play. What else is on his phone? eBay something. This is Ben Shapiro's home screen. Well, the last page in his home screen. What's scan, pay, play? Anybody know? Is this his version? Yeah. Yeah, Rachel,
protected.
I explained all this shit without a whiteboard. But then, the addition of a whiteboard is very important to Ben Shapiro and his pet caterpillars.
That's simple. It is not difficult to do. And here is the thing. It's not going to cost you a fortune either. Right now, head on over to ExpressVPN.
I'm not interested. Thank you. Okay, so there you go.
Wall Street Bets. And they noticed that there were a lot of Bruces, and all the Bruces were short selling the stock. All the Bruces were basically betting that they were going to be paying back the broker the stock right now. But they don't actually have the stock, right? They haven't actually bought the stock yet, right? They're planning on buying the stock right before they sell it back to the broker. So they don't have the stock. So what do...
This is called a short squeeze, by the way. It happens all the time in the big brokers. They do it to each other. This is the only reason this is news is because the massive scale and the size of the individuals who did it. That it ended up being a crowdfunding attack. It is basically the Kickstarter of short squeezes. Most of the time, big hedge funds try to obliterate other hedge funds, by manipulating the market this way. So
the subreddit guys do. What the subreddit guys do is they say, okay, what if we just Bruce? What if what we actually
That's a bad word.
do here is drive up the price of the stock, right? So now,
did you guys just buy some music to play over this? That's like, kind of like detective music. I don't care what genre.
when Bruce, let's say he sells it for $50 because he thinks it's going to be down at 20 a month from now. Now the month has passed.
Yeah, we've covered this.
Right? We're now in this period. So the Reddit guys, what do? They say, we are going to...
We've got a great idea for making Ben Shapiro's videos unnecessarily long.
Artificially boost the price of the stock because all of us are going to get together. We're going to buy up all the stock that exists in GameStop. We're going to buy all of it. And so the price is not going to be $20 for Bruce to actually buy the stock so that he can pay back the broker. Instead, the stock is going to be $200. Right? So now,
I don't know why you have this guy instead of Bruce. You couldn't get a stock photo of Bruce upset? You got him on the phone. You got him getting ready to go to, getting a Sears portrait. What did this guy do? This guy looks like one of the people, who was hoping that Wall Street Bets worked.
Now, Bruce is really screwed because Bruce sold the stock for $50, but now he has to buy the stock for $200. So that means that Bruce is no longer up $20. Now, Bruce is down $160.
Because of the $10 fee that he made up.
Right, so that is what they are doing, in short. They're basically screwing Bruce beyond belief by artificially boosting the price of the stock. Now, here's
within belief.
the thing. They're not taking into account the market fundamentals. They don't care about the market fundamentals. They don't care that GameStop actually is not worth $200 in terms of the stock. So what does that mean? This means that this only works and this can only continue so long as the price of the stock remains high. Because once the price of the stock begins to drop, if he continues to buy short sales, then as the price of the stock drops, you go back to your original calculation, right? If the price of the stock goes back down to $20, then Bruce is okay. He can still buy all of the stock back. So they can keep screwing Bruce for as long as possible just by holding the stock. And that's why you're seeing things like hold the line, do not sell, trending on Twitter. Because all these Reddit guys are like, The longer we do this, the more the hedge fund guys get screwed. Because what the hedge fund guys are doing in order to combat the fact that they're losing money on each one of these deals is, number one, they have to buy the stock in order to pay back the broker, or at least they have to pay the broker some money. And two,
they're paying rent for 3 months.
They realize that at a certain point this is going to give way. Because all the people who bought, all the Reddit guys who bought, eventually they're going to realize, hold up a second, I can make a lot of money by selling the stock right now, right? That will drop the stock price eventually, but I will clear this giant profit in the meantime. So what the big hedge fund guys are doing is they are betting even more into short, right? They're saying, okay, for sure the stock is going to drop. We know it's going to drop. It's just a matter of time for it to drop. So what they are actually doing is creating more of an impetus for people to continue buying the stock and setting the stock price higher, because the more that they short squeeze, it's called the short squeeze, the more they short squeeze.
Yeah, you could have written short squeeze across the top of this, because this is what you're explaining or whatever. But the music it's got a nice flute thing to it, so I'm trying not to doze
off. The brokers, the more that the brokers are going to have to pay in order to fulfill the promises that they have.
Ben, thank you very much for your presentation. Now, if you could go in the other room and bring in the film strip projector, the rest of the class would like to continue. This is English Lit. We know that math class, you ran out of time in home econ and they didn't let you give your presentation, and I have humored you thus far. But I gotta say your whole presentation is a little pitchy, bro.
Have made to the brokers in the first place. The more Bruces they screw, the more money they can make. But that only holds true so long as you can hold the line, so long as there's a collective action not to just sell right now and drop the price of the stock. So that is what is going on right now. Now, in the midst of all of this, a bunch of tech companies have decided they don't like what the Reddit guys are doing. They don't like that the Reddit guys are screwing.
Is there, honest to God, is there someone sneaking around behind you in a hat and a London fog jacket? Jesus Christ.
The Bruce guys. And there are a couple reasons they're saying this. One is they're saying that the Reddit guys, they don't care about the underlying value of the stock. They don't care about the fact that they are now trading the stock in multiple times what it actually is probably worth. What they really care about is screwing the Bruces of the world, and this is screwing up the market mechanism. So that's kind of a somewhat fair criticism. The other thing that they don't like is they don't like the people getting screwed. They don't like that it's the hedge fund guys that they normally trade with who are getting screwed. So what you have seen is places like Robinhood say, we're not going to allow you to continue to buy up the stock and continue to artificially inflate
bullshit
the price of the stock, right? You're seeing other places take down subreddit boards, right? The subreddit board was actually taken down. The folks who did that said, oh, it was to ban hate speech. It was not to ban hate speech. It was not to ban violent speech. It was specifically done in order to undercut the market for GameStop stock. It was deliberately done in order to create a sellable market so people would start selling their stock immediately.
Literally, at this point, they have no idea how many shares are outstanding with GameStop. That's the other thing he's not mentioning at all. Let's say there's 1 million. There are only 1 million GameStop stock options available. Stock certificates. You can only have 1 million shares. Either one person has them or everybody splits them up. There's only 1 million. There was a period during this crazy trading and all the nutty stuff that was going on where there was something like 1.2 million shares, let's say, out and available. That's not possible. People were selling subdivided shares and then marking them down as single shares and all kinds of stuff. That was part of the problem, that the volume of shares actually overtook the amount of actual existing shares because GameStop didn't expect this kind of run. They didn't offer that many shares.
And the price would go back down and people would stop getting screwed over in Bruce world. Okay, so that's exactly what's going on with GameStop right now.
Is Ben your cousin on your...
You can be on either side of that. You can be on either side of that. You have to admit that this is legitimately one of the funniest things that has ever happened in the history of Wall Street.
Well, besides this guy's collection of pins. I mean, his flair is outstanding. And the fact that he's smart enough when the market is crazy. Look at the market tanking in this piece of clip art. I mean, that's just brutal. That Merrick, if that's his real name, works for America, but also is part of the puzzle piece. Obviously, these are all QAnon things. I don't know them. There's number 242 when clearly something 5 on his right sleeve. So, but he at least knows that the stock market was going to suck that day because he wore his sweat-wicking underarm jacket. That's it. Thanks, Daily Wire. What a bunch of doucheries.